Thanks for joining us today for the Star Telecom unboxing of another Genesys Cloud release notes for February 2nd, 2022. Today we have Alec Narancic, our resident workforce management expert, and Edgar Kuradra, our solution consultant from Star Telecom. We're going to talk about these February feature release notes.
Hi, Rob. Thanks for the introductions. Hi, everyone. I'm Edgar Kuradra, Solution Consultant here at Star Telecom, and today we're going to go over the February 2nd release notes. Quite an interesting grouping of releases in the contact center space this time around. So the first one is the limited PII masking and performance views and exports. So what this is doing is in certain performance views and exports, it's going to start masking those ANI and DNS numbers within those particular reports. Now, unfortunately, I don't have an example to show you because this is only available right now in API calls. I had to do quite some digging around in the community forums of Genesys Cloud to find that information. So I won't be able to show that, and I think there should be some updates in the next few months where this can be enabled in the actual GUID or in the UI of Genesys Cloud. So for right now, this is only available via API. So the next one here, access to agent management across divisions. Alec, I know you've been looking into this and you have something to show us.
Yeah, thanks, Edgar. So, hi, name is Alec. I'm the WFM analyst here at Star Telecom. And you're right. I have been investigating what this basically means. So this is basically something that's more of an update to the already existing security access piece of Genesys Cloud, so to say. So right now we do have the possibility and the ability to actually to further more granularize access to and then view access that specific supervisors and in general users have to the org. And this specific update to the system it's kind of directed towards basically limiting the agents and Genesys users that you can see based on their division assignments, so to say, right? And then more on that note, we also have another new feature enabled, and that's we also have the possibility to kind of limit if calls can be transferred to specific queues only and then solely based on their division assignments, right? So if you have a queue that's part of, let's say, the sales division, and a user wants to do a transfer, and that user is part of, let's say, the support division. In that case, if you limit that access, that user is not going to be able to transfer that call to that queue. And as well, you can also limit initiating outbound calls on behalf of specific queues that are part of different divisions which you are not part of, basically. And let me just share my screen. So in here, if we dive deeper into the actual update, we can see that we have a standard prerequisite, and it's directory user view, so that permission needs to be added in order for this to work, basically. And as I mentioned, we do have that first piece of limitations, division-based limitations, that are going to kind of give or restrict visibility to any user on any other user that belongs to a different queue. And the second thing that I mentioned is the control search and transfer based on division membership. So as it says here, with this you can determine whether a user can transfer a conference call or make a call on behalf of a queue outside of their division. And in order for this to work, the only permission that needs to be added to any already existing user role is conversation communication target, and then by having that specific role limited to any division from the divisions available, they're not going to be able to transfer or initiate even an outbound call on behalf of any of the queues outside of their divisions. So in order to show that, we have we have a couple of queues that are named WFM, so billing, sales, and support, that are part of division that I'm not part of, and I cannot initiate any outbound calls on behalf of those queues, whereas I can place calls on behalf of these queues, which are part of the same division that I'm part of. All right. Do you guys have any questions maybe in regards to this?
I just want to say a comment. Like I'm really glad to see Genesys really bumping up the divisions, and I think we had this conversation last month where divisions has been maybe not as mature, and now they're really, this year seems like that's their big initiative to really beef up the divisions within Genesys.
It's a good example of the growth from customer requests, from user requests. It's a really good example.
Yeah.
And there's still some additional pending requests in regards to the divisions, and also some additional. I mean, these are only ideas and only proposals, but I have found some interesting ones where you would have the possibility to even maybe kind of limit based on the queue per se, and not on the division and the queue, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Edgar, you want to take over to manually assign interactions
I'll take it from here. Thanks, Alex.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so this next one's a kind of exciting one. I find this, and I actually didn't know that this is an addition to previously where we can manually assign interactions or interactions in waiting. We can just manually assign them to agents. So now, and a supervisor can't do that, but they can also assign it across queues to agents across different queues. So that's kind of exciting. So let me show up my Genesys here and we'll see how that's looking. Now under the queues activities details view here, we can see two interactions here. So as a supervisor or even an agent that has the ability to go into this particular view, they can start cherry picking those interactions. So let's say I'm an agent idle in a different queue, and I'm told via communicate or through my internal instance, in my internal messaging application, that can you go jump into the demo Acme support and take those couple emails or take that call that's kind of sitting there idle? Sure, not a problem. All the agent would do is go to either click the assign to self option for that particular queue, or as a supervisor, I can go and assign to other. So if I go and do Alec, for example, here, I can go ahead and assign that interaction over to Alec, who is, you can see he's not in this agent list, so he's sitting in a different queue, and then that interaction will go over to him. Vice versa, I can do you can do the same thing with emails. So very powerful feature, and for those of you out there looking for this feature, it's now available for you to use. Any comments, guys?
No, I think that this is a great thing, and we did receive a lot of questions around is this available? When is it going to be available? And that comes mostly from our clients that have been working on email, let's say in Outlook, then they just started using Genesys. They just started using email in Genesys, right? So what they what would help them ease the transition from the standard Outlook email handling to Genesys email handling would be precisely this feature, because you could even be having, let's say, a blank queue with no agents assigned to it whatsoever, but it would be the queue where all emails go to, and then you would have the agents going into queues activity detail and actually cherry picking those interactions. And I think that it's a great way to kind of get, let's say, more legacy minded clients accustomed to Genesys on the long run.
I would like to see for email specifically is the subject line, at least, right? That way you can get a bit more insight into what that email is and if it needs to be routed accordingly.
That would be a great addition.
I'll probably go ahead and submit that idea to the community.
But don't forget that you also have the possibility to actually view the interaction details also on the more options there. So if the roles and permissions have been set accordingly, the agents would have the possibility to actually go in there and not be able to read the email, as we can see on the screen.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we need
it's
to
great
cut this
there.
out.
We'll have to play it out, but we can get the details right. So some of these details would be great to see in that particular view, I think. Anyways, great. That's a good little example. Thanks for that insight there, Alec. Let me scroll up the release note to see what's next. Is a new language added to phrases topics. So again, now it's the Polish language there. So that's good for anyone, our Cloud 3 users that are using the topics and in the topics. So now Polish is available as another supported language. Lastly here, just a deprecation, an API change for topic spot and dialects. So just again, another feature that's being consolidated, and I think it's going to be used more in the data, more consolidated inside the data and architect tools. Okay, so that does it for February 2nd release notes. Again, if you have any questions, reach out to us here at Start Telecom. And thanks everyone for joining today.
Thanks, Alec. Thanks, Edgar. Thanks, everyone. And looking forward to seeing you next time.
All right. Take care, guys.
Cheers.